Okay, now we're back. We're going to work and move on to the ears. A person needs ears. Then we're going to go on to overall, like the hairline and the face shape. What kind of shape this person's face, this person has, because it's still kind of changeable at this point. I'm going to show you a couple different types of faces too. So let's talk about ears. The ear. So we're going to draw the ear from a side view. And we can only see the full, the full structure of the ear can only be viewed from like the side of a person's head if you were to look at somebody from the side. So I'm going to describe the three main points, the three main shapes or components of the ear. The ear, you could start drawing the ear and have it look like a sideways, like a backwards letter C. Like that. A little bit bigger curve at the top, a smaller curve at the bottom. This is a very, very oversimplified ear. Now we call this, some people call this actually the fish hook. You know, let's just say here's the hook here's the fish hook right here. This would be where you would put the fishing line. That's a fish hook. Now right over here would be the bump. The bump is a little piece of cartilage that's on the side of your face that floats like right above the ear hole. It kind of hides and obscures the ear hole sometimes from view. So this is the bump right here, little sideways bump. And then the ear, I like to actually bring the line, for the outside line of the ear, inward a little bit to create a shape like this, so that we have like a free hanging kind of earlobe area. Don't bring it in too much. Just bring the line in slightly like that. So I'm going to erase that little hole, like erase the little hook thing. So here's the hook, here's the bump. Let me get rid of that point. It's not really there. Now we have the main ridge of the ear. And the spacing between the main ridge of the ear and the outside gets smaller and smaller, and this main ridge here eventually just fades away as it comes toward the earlobe area. Okay, and the different parts of the ear, and we're just going to go over just the main parts. This little cartilaginous area right over here, I'm just going to point to that. That's called the tragus. Okay, this ridge here is called the helix. And of course, the earlobe itself is called the lobule. Now, inside of the ear, we have this little bump right over here, right? And we also have something called a structure that looks like the letter Y. So we have the fish hook, the bump, and the Y. And the Y looks like this. So little indentation here. And then we have a little indentation here. And of course, a little indentation here. So if you look carefully, kind of looks like the letter Y in here, right? Right. So what I like to do is when I'm shading the ear, I like to put some shading on the overall on the ear. Let's just put some light shading overall on the ear. And this will force people not to make their skin tones as too light, like the white of the paper. Nobody is as light as a sheet of paper. Nobody. Not even the lightest, fairest skinned person, as they say. Nobody. So I'd like just to put like overall some color to the skin of the ears. Remember, don't make your face have skin tone and then leave your ears white. That would look really weird. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of shading on the upper part of the helix, right? And right here on the side going down too. So this is a 2B pencil, okay? And I'm also going to put a little bit of shading right here coming from the lower part of the ridge, like that. Right where in between the two parts of the Y, I'm going to put a little bit of shading there too. I'm going to fade it. And also put a little bit of shading right here on the side of the Y. Boy, this pencil does not feel like a 2B. It just feels so hard, like almost like an HB or an F pencil. I feel like my number 2 pencil, it's just like a little too hard. I'm gonna go with a, it's really odd. I'm gonna go with another 2B. Let's go with a 4B, one of my favorites. It's not too soft, but it's still like a little hard, but it's not too hard. It's just like, it's perfect. And when you press on it, you get some nice dark values. So on the left side of the Y, I'm going to put a little bit of shading. Right on the right side of the Y, I'm also going to put some shading here underneath the ridge. So in between the Y and this little helix area, I'm going to put a little bit of shading there too. And then just kind of create a little line that goes down and fades. Okay. Right on the underside of the tragus, I'm going to create a little bump, a little loop, and that's going to go up and kind of curve around like that. It's almost like another ear shape in here. That. And put a little bit of shading behind the bump. Okay, so because this is like the little tunnel that goes into the ear hole, which is right here on the lower half of the tragus, like that. I also like to put a little bit of shading on the very top of the earlobe, like here. Okay, I'm going to grab my blender. And the ear is really going to use a lot of very, very soft and subtle shading because it's all organic shapes in there. Lots of curvy, weird kind of organic ins and outs and just ridges. And the only way you can show that is through shading. I feel like this Y area is just like so big. I feel like this needs to be more of this ear hole opening. I'm just going to move it over and just make this a little skinnier. All right. So that's my ear, and I'm going to go in with my eraser and just erase and pick out some highlights. So right here at the middle of my Y and just down the center of the bottom of my Y, I'm going to just highlight that. Just have the light pick it up. Also right here at right above the bottom of the helix, I'm just going to put a little bit of highlight and just bring it down. Just like the sunlight is just catching it just a little bit. And right here along the ridge, right here, like that. Right? The earlobe, I just want to put a little soft highlight there. Right here. Right there. There we go. And maybe I don't want this here to be so skinny. If you don't want that structure to be so skinny, because sometimes people have like a little bump there, make it a little thicker, a little bit more organic, so it doesn't look like it's the same thickness. This could be a little heavier here. We could have this be a little bit more highlighted here on this side. There. Then go back in and put a little bit of shading back in. This could be a little bit lighter too in here, so I'm just going to take my kneaded eraser and just kind of drag it a little bit to lighten up that area. If it's too light, then just go back and darken it back up again. Just play around with it until you find it, you get it just right for you. And then this part right here, I want that to be a little lighter. Right here where it attaches to the side of the face. There we go. And blend this shading in a little bit softer. Sometimes the eraser erases a little too harsh. Then I need to go back and forth with it a little bit. All right. So that is the ear. This is from the side. So I'll write side view. But we're not drawing the ear from the side view because we're not drawing the face from the side view. We need to draw the ear from the front. And what is the difference between an ear from the front and an ear from the side? There is a difference. So an ear from the front is going to look a little bit narrower. You're not going to see the full front view. It's just going to look more compressed and just like a compressed, skinnier view. The ear is going to be located between the brow line. That's where you started to draw the brow. And the bottom of the nose line. So it's going to go right in this zone right here. Okay. So let's just draw the ear from the front. So the ear from the front, we'll draw it right here. Front view of the ear. Okay. So let's just say that here's the side of your face. Here's the side of your face. So the ear from the front is you're going to have the same ridge, but it's going to look a lot narrower. There's going to be an emphasis on the front of that top ridge, and then the ridge is going to get skinnier and skinnier as you go back into space. Right here, we go down and create the earlobe. So the whole thing, you see how wide this is? You see how narrow that is? You're still going to have the tragus kind of in the middle. You're going to have an earlobe. I like to draw a little curve here to show the puffiness of the earlobe. And then draw the little Y. Just everything's going to be a little skinnier. Here's the Y. And that's it. Now we're going to go in and we're going to do a little bit of shading here with our 4B pencil. Put a little bit of shading on the side of the Y. Some shading right here near the ear hole. Some shading on the underside of the ear lobe. And kind of around the top. And along the underside. Okay, I like to put a little bit of shading right here on the, just a little bit to the left of the tragus as well. Now I'm going to go in with my little blending stump and just soften up all my shading so it doesn't look so sketchy. Don't worry if it looks too dark. You can just kind of spread some of that shading around because you should shade your ears a skin tone. Remember, don't leave them white. Nobody's ears are white. Okay, so after we put some overall shading on them, I'm going to go in with my wedge cap eraser and I'm just going to put a little bit of a highlight on my bridge here, the helix, a little bit on my Y, definitely the little tip of the bump here, the tragus. I'll light that up a little bit with some highlighting, and of course here, put a little bit of, voila, that's it. Just on the little poof of the earlobe right there. So it's the same thing except it's just like compressed, so it looks skinnier. So it's a little difficult. It's because you're trying to squeeze all the different parts of the ear in a very, very short, like a very narrow amount of space, but you can do it. Okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, we're just learning. So we're going to put that ear on the side of this face right here.